Once we've set the strategy and we've thought about these steps, it really comes to that next step. And it's quite interesting that what we see is sometimes people kind of tend to forget about this, which is an odd thing. But we see it quite often where companies think, okay, we've set strategy, now we need to report on. But no, there's something in the middle that you need to actually do some things. You need to have that, of course, that annual ESG program, but work out there as well. Then, like, what are the things you're going to do over that year? So if you have those 3 focus areas, can you translate that into actual programs, initiatives, policies you're going to write and implement? Like, what are some of the real things you're going to do and actually do, and then measure and report on that? So we take that example again from training. If you now say, well, workforce development, employee development is really important. It's a material topic. We haven't done anything. We set a strategy around it. You now need a plan. How are you going to do that this year then? And then with that, if you now have a training program you're implementing, what do you need to track as well around that? Maybe the hour of training per employee, or the cost of training per employee or per hour. So all those kind of metrics that you can report on that later. So that's a really important thing, taking action, but also having that, working group, like we said earlier, have a group of people that can actually drive this on a more operational level is really important. And allowing time for actions to have an impact is really important as well. You won't see overnight what happens with some of these things. So it's really important to keep that in mind, that, it will take some time to implement things. What are your thoughts on that action phase, and what do you see companies do, in reality around taking actions?
Yeah. I mean, this is really interesting, and it kind of goes back to our conversation about the ordering of things. So a lot of times when companies first kind of get engaged in this, the kind of fire in the company can be driven by stakeholders who are asking for reporting. And if you've never done any kind of voluntary reporting or measurement or things like that, you can do an initial report without having gone through this action phase, because what you're doing is you're basically reporting on the initial assessment that you did, and hopefully you're setting some targets in the strategy. But where this will, if you're coming back to another reporting cycle and you haven't taken any action, that's where you get in trouble, because then you don't have anything to update, you don't have any progress, you look like you're not committed to the area. So it is important to have a plan and to make space for the actions to be done. And then I can't stress enough how critical it is to just drive this down to individual accountability. This isn't rocket science. Companies do cross-functional collaborative program building in many, many different areas. So dust off the kind of best practices that you have around project management, get out your charts, set out your tasks, set out your deadlines, and create that accountability down to an individual level, a department level, an item level, so that it's not just something where, okay, great, we've put it in a report that we're going to have 90% of our employees trained on our ethics policies. All right, who's going to get the training? Who's going to communicate it? How is it being, who in IT is in charge of setting it up, and kind of getting down into those details in that kind of action report. And, if ideally you can peel some time off of somebody who does project management in your company to really bring those best practices across.
And it's such a great point. Like, this is making sustainability and ESG real. It is embedding it. It is doing it. This is the doing part of it. But yeah, you need to touch upon the skills in your business and really bring people into it. And we do see that, people can get quite excited about this once they get it. And on the flip side, we've also seen companies that not done anything on reporting, not done anything on strategy, that just take actions. They say, oh, we do a million things on sustainability, but it's all ad hoc, it's all over the place. And that's where that strategy, the focus, the materiality comes in, but also the reporting. So and that's why those 3 components are so important, to have them kind of next to each other.